All right. Just to say one more time, this presentation is being recorded. My name is Brian Seymour. I am the program manager for the Made in Baltimore program. We are a program of the Baltimore Development Corporation, which is our city's economic development agency. The work of Made in Baltimore is aimed at supporting and promoting makers and manufacturers here in Baltimore City and helping to grow the buy local movement in the Baltimore region. We offer business development services and resources to small batch manufacturers, makers, and retailers. We do this through programs like this workshop series. Today, we are joined by Austin and the ShipSimply team to discuss improving your e-commerce fulfillment with the one, the only ShipSimply. We ask that you please remain muted through this presentation. We would love to see your faces if you're comfortable. This is a safe learning space, so there's no such thing as a bad question. When you have a question, please quietly add it to the chat and it will be answered during scheduled Q&A segments. Do not feel pressured to keep up with note-taking. Again, this workshop is being recorded and will be posted on our website at a later date. Thank you to our parent agency, Baltimore Development Corporation. Thank you to ShipSimply. And with that, I will pass it off.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian, for having us today. We're very excited to kind of show you guys what we have to offer. We have a very unique software product that we'd like to show you guys today, but we're also going to talk about e-commerce trends and a few other things before we kind of get into that. My name is Austin, and my partner here, Ryan. We've been in this and working on this software all in all for about over
5 years.
5 years now. 5 years today, actually. And then my other partners, my wife, Britt, and Dan are here with us today, unfortunately sitting a little bit off camera here, but we're very excited to show you guys some opportunities to hopefully improve some efficiency and also streamline your processes. So let's kind of get into this here. Just a little bit of a background and why I think we're developing an awesome piece of software here. My background is about 20 years now in e-commerce, actually a little bit longer than that. We started out on e-com, and this was a family company back in 1996, whenever there was, 3 pages online at that point. And we were selling pink flamingos and hot sauce online. So it was really kind of interesting because as the evolution of the internet occurred, we were there watching it change, being able to actually figure out different sales channels online. 1999, our company, which was called Off the Deep End, won the Best of the Internet Awards through Snap, and which was really kind of interesting. Granted, there was only about 5 websites online at that period of time, but still, it was a amazing accomplishment to kind of see it grow and also work with the trends and figure out new innovative techniques to sell items online and also fulfill those orders. My background is quite diverse, from computer programming to database management to digital forensics to just a little bit of everything, warehousing and fulfillment. And today, not only do we have ShipSimply, and this is what's kind of, it helps us develop this process along. Ryan and I and our wives own Hardy Pet, which is one of the nation's largest independent family-owned e-commerce sellers of pet food. So we actually have a 44,000 square foot warehouse. We're based here in Hagerstown, Maryland. And, we also have a warehouse in Reno, Nevada, but everything, Ryan and I have spent almost our entire life here in Maryland. So Ryan, you want to?
Yeah, I'm Ryan Chapin. As Austin said, we've been working diligently at Hardy Pet, and my background is, again, pretty diverse as well. I was in fire and rescue, and I've worked in my own businesses, and we've also done some digital forensics together as well. So a strong computer background. We often say we're a computer company that sells pet food rather than a pet food company. But the growth that we've seen because of the technologies that have been implemented are the key parts to why ShipSimply is going to be a really interesting software package for the folks that need to get product out the door.
Yeah, and it's just, for us, it was painful whenever we started shipping with Hardy Pet and watching Ryan in the warehouse conducting operations and trying to find a product that was on a pallet, or trying to find a product that was located in the warehouse, finding the product, finding the order, associating that product with the order, then having to go print the shipping labels, and, going down this process with, only 50 orders a day. And as we grew, and as our warehouse is now usually on a slow day, we're seeing over 1,000 packages. It's really kind of an opportunity for us to get out in the community and help out those folks that are kind of struggling now with this automation, and see what we can do, especially to help our Maryland folks. So
absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about today, just kind of the e-commerce, the state of e-commerce. And everybody is really seeing this nowadays, especially after COVID. We see a huge trend with ordering products online. You don't have to take a step outside your door. Amazon will deliver it, or a local, hopefully, manufacturer you can buy on through their website and have it delivered directly to your doorstep. And, I don't think that trend's going anywhere anytime soon. What we've seen in some reports, and Ryan, I know you did a little bit more digging into this, but we're seeing a huge uptick in e-commerce. I mean, there is a lot of folks that are going from the traditional brick and mortar. Obviously, ourselves, we have a brick and mortar store, but we see that trend going straight to e-commerce, basically. And I think, was it Gartner, I guess Ibis here in this case, was projecting almost 1 trillion of e-commerce transactions online. I think that was by
2024.
Yeah.
Yeah, the growth is substantial. And I think everyone watching this probably gets it, right? You probably used to buy a lot more in store, and now you're buying a lot more online. I guess it's it's important for us to just communicate during this presentation that this is not just you. This is a global process that's going on. Now, these are U.S. statistics, so beyond the U.S. statistics, it continues to grow even more so.
Yep. And just looking at manufacturing trends, and we feel this pain internally sometimes. A lot of these customers, and you can actually see some of the stars where ShipSimply helps eliminate some of that confusion. These are the main challenges that they're seeing across the industry. Coming from Digital Commerce 360, it's amazing to think in today's world, there's still an issue with the inability to track orders. A lot of folks don't have that integration to provide their customers with account portals, so that way they can log in, or they don't have a shipping software that pushes the tracking numbers into the e-commerce platform. Maintaining inventory, maintaining product information. There's a whole long list of things that can be automated, and we can help in that aspect of figuring out how to make your life a little bit easier. Again, coming from that background, having the development background, and also some of the automation with ShipSimply, we're happy to step in and see what we can help you guys with in that too. So
our focus has always been on ease of use. We both appreciate, and the entire group appreciates, how to make things just move smoothly the way we think they should. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different perspectives, but if we can get the buy-in from our warehouse team and our software development team, who's a big group of folks, we're feeling pretty confident that we've got a good process outlined.
And the hardest thing that I think we've encountered so far is how to keep things simple.
Yeah.
So
it's incredibly complex.
It is. And, it's amazing once you'll kind of see the software. That was our main focus at that point. As far as for our marketplaces, just alone outside of the big ones like Amazon and Walmart and eBay and things down those lines, you see a lot of these folks, and I'm sure you might have already turned to these different sites between WooCommerce, Shopify, Wix, Squarespace, turning to different marketplaces to sell their products. And really, when it comes down to it, there's the big players in the room, then there's also a few outliers. And we actually integrate with quite a few of the major marketplaces on the market, and also some of the e-commerce providers. So this is kind of the state of the nation right now. So.
Yeah.
And then retail trends too, you know, even though, and I had to get Ryan to give me a little bit more insight into this graph because it doesn't look substantial. What we see here is, which is really kind of interesting, is retail is only experiencing about a 1.54 growth rate compared to, we're seeing about 13.38%, 8.69 times faster than, well, 8.69x growth at that point.
Yeah, versus retail. And again, it's just to reiterate that this is not just a single experience that you might think is going on or folks around you are talking about. This is a wide event that's happening. People aren't just not going to retail. Retail is growing, but it's just not growing at the same rate as online.
And it's just interesting to see still the presence of retail, and you know, there's still the volume behind it, but e-commerce is a huge behemoth now in today's world. So, and of course, you know, we come to the bigger issue in today's world is how do you deal with this type of influx in business? You know, it's wonderful, but on a daily basis, and as you can see from my shiny head here, it causes me to lose hair and sometimes sleep overnight. But you know, whenever you walk in, and I remember at one point in time last March, you know, we went home and walked into 6,000 orders one morning. You know, and it was a large push at that point to have folks order as much supplies as possible during that initial start of the pandemic. But, you know, how do you get that out the door and how do you make your customer happy? So we developed a little bit of that aspect with the shipping side, and we'll kind of walk through some of that.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter where you're coming from. ShipSimply is going to be able to support the process. In this instance, maybe you're not a huge manufacturer yet, but smaller manufacturers can be helped by this. And the nice thing about it is ShipSimply is a small price tag. It's not a multi-million-dollar implementation. So, but if you're manufacturing and you need to be able to get products either out the door to your distributors or out the door to your customers, whether you're B2C or B2B or D2C, which is distributor to consumer. A lot of folks are doing that now. You'll see online, you know, the manufacturer just sells it direct to the consumer. You know, we actually have two layers, right? We have the manufacturer, the distributor, sometimes another layer, and then us. And sometimes we get direct from the distributor, and sometimes we buy direct from the manufacturer. But before the customer buys product from Hardy Pet, you know, there's two layers. But we'd be able to help, you know, with this manufacturer level. We also support the folks that are, you know, distributing. So if you're distributing a product from a manufacturer, you can get these products out again to your customers, whether they're resellers or whether they're the consumer. You know, we're always gauging what the next new thing is for ShipSimply, but you know, this is a piece that we can help with as well.
And then of course our own here, just looking at the pet supply retail change, you know, and this is not only, you can apply it to pretty much anybody that has a retail store operation. You know, how do you get those orders out in an efficient way? I mean, there's some really unique opportunities, which we'll show you here, that even ShipSimply could, if you have locations where your product is stored on your retail store shelves, where to pick that order from, and being able to scan it right there and print a shipping label and a pack slip for it. And better yet, you know, the big thing that we see, and the driving factor in today's marketplace, is if you don't have a unique product, how can you save as much money as possible by saving on shipping costs and efficiency? So, and then of course, you know, all the way down to the, you know, single person that is running a business through their house that is just struggling to balance life with manufacturing, fulfillment, getting as much of those products out during the day. You know, you really have those capabilities with ShipSimply to optimize your time to make sure that you're not spending too much time by generating labels and communicating with your customers, your tracking numbers and things down those lines. There's a lot of optimization in there. So the solution, again, looking specifically here, we'll run through the software here in just a second, but we have a pick, scan, pack, and ship operation that's all integrated into this package. So you'll be able to see things like how many orders for different products that you have, what's the most highest priority order, is it coming from Amazon, is it coming from Shopify, is it coming from WooCommerce, and really kind of see all your business in one portal that really helps you run the business on a day-to-day aspect, from inbound orders at that point. So now, whenever you're actually creating and shipping these products now, and a lot of folks don't realize this, how many processes are in place just to get a single label out of your software. So you're going around the warehouse and you're finding the products to be shipped. You're exploring what shipping options, you have available. Is it priority mail? Is it first class mail? Is it FedEx, UPS? What's the best rate? Then you have to go in and buy the shipping. And you're printing the labels, you're printing the pack slips, you're deciding if you need the pick list, so that way you can go get the products out of the warehouse, which, then at that point, you hope you don't lose any of that documentation. And then at the end of that, after you've pulled out your hair, you hope that you got the right product in the right box. And that in itself, error rates, obviously, and especially with customer satisfaction, it's a challenge, because regardless of if a customer is buying a product on Amazon or through your website, and we're all human, we all make mistakes, there are folks that expect perfection. And in today's world, we try to deliver, especially in our own company, that 100%, error-free shipping, but we all know it's next to near impossible. And, that's what everybody expects of you, it seems like lately. So, but, as the last process there, ship the box, cross your fingers. That says it in its entirety, what that kind of looks like.
And this was us. And early on, this was us. And we had issues in the first 3 to 4 months. We had, wrong things going in wrong boxes. We had lost pack slips and shipping labels. Somebody opens up the back door and a big breeze goes through, right? You're scrambling to find stuff. And, you do everything you can to try and minimize this, but it just shouldn't happen, multiple times a day, right?
Yeah. And it's just that focus is just how do you minimize those risks? And with ShipSimply, it's really straightforward. Our software solution allows you to pick, and the focus there is we present you with an order summary that allows you to go to your warehouse or your shelves that are in the basement or, wherever else, and grab what products you need to go out that day. It gives you a full summary that you can add on a 4x6 or a 4x8 label, and that way you can take it around and grab everything that you need for those orders. The next thing is our scanning technology is really unique, and I'll show you the demo here in just a second, but it gives you the capability, if you have those barcodes on your product, instead of trying to figure out which order needs to go out first, you just scan the product barcode. Whether it be UPC or whether it's something that you've custom created and just printed and stuck onto the box of the product, whatever have you at that point, the system knows that that order needs to be associated with that product, and it can be shipped right then and there too. And of course, you don't have to have product barcodes, and we'll kind of show you the system around that too. Put it in a box, pack it up, put the packing slip in it, print it actually with ShipSimply, and put the label on it and ship it.
Yep. And that's that shipping label. When you scan that barcode, your pack slip comes out, and then it goes out and spends about 3 to 5 seconds making sure that you're going to get the best shipping rate possible. Now, if you only ship with one person, that's okay, but you might as well put the numbers in for all three, because you might be missing out.
Yeah, and so. UPS and FedEx, there's so many different opportunities to pick up accounts through like PayPal, or I'm trying to think some of the other services that offer FedEx accounts now, that you can get rates that are competitive to the USPS prices. And, you have the capability, once you get into larger boxes with heavier items, it's a challenge to ship them through priority mail or postal service, just because you're paying a substantially more or higher cost at that point. So And that's also something that, we always like to offer too. If you guys are unsure with exactly how to handle those packages or those volumes, we're here to help and can answer questions about that. So looking at how we integrate, super simple. It's very much handheld. So, we like to make sure that our customers experience the highest level of satisfaction when using our process whenever you actually work with us. We're going to walk you through setting up a business account and connecting your marketplaces into ShipSimply. Once we actually sync your orders, your products, and create your user accounts, you can actually start shipping. Assuming everything is well organized and we can actually throw it directly into the software, it doesn't take, it takes very few. It doesn't take much time to really get it working, but obviously if you have a more complex backend or any type of ERP integrations, we kind of have to go through a little bit of a process to get that working and make sure we're following your business rules too. So,
but we have 6 developers on staff.
Yes,
right. They're
in-house.
In-house.
Yep.
Ready to help support that process. So.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what's wonderful here. Our team is. We're all local folks that we're actually here in Hagerstown, right next door to the airport. And that's our warehouse and our development team and, all of our customer service teams. So we're right around the corner, and also would encourage at that point too, if you guys would like to come up and see the software in action or see the warehouse operation. We've been there, we've been in the trenches, and we still, for that matter, we still go down and pack packages whenever our team needs it. And it's wonderful to kind of see, that growth and be able to experience also too some of the larger volume in that aspect.
And I think it's an open invitation too, because, you guys are Maryland folk, right? Baltimore, is important to us. So make sure that you're when you call in or email us, make sure that you're telling us that you're another Maryland business.
Yeah. And we love to, make sure that we're helping as much as we can with the community and our local groups here too. So, but looking at, where we're going, we're obviously looking at adding additional carriers. If you're using regionalized carriers, please let us know. We're happy to look at the development and see what we can do to integrate those. We're looking at adding more marketplace connections. We're adding more APIs in, so that way you can actually communicate with ShipSimply through other programs. So there's a pretty exciting roadmap moving forward, and we're always working on developing new exciting features. Again, some of the hardest goal is just trying to make sure it's simple. So before we flip into the demo, are there any questions that we could answer right off the bat? All right. Feel free if you want to send us questions in the chat. I do have that open, and or if you need to email Brian, and we're happy to connect with you afterwards too. So go ahead and switch screens here. So again, focusing on ShipSimply. And the whole background behind this was, how do you develop an application that anybody can use? And when I say that, I would have no issue with really kind of handing, even though my 6-year-old would probably end up running around in the warehouse, who knows, end up wherever. But I wouldn't have an issue with handing her a scan gun and asking her to ship a bag of dog food, for that matter, because the whole goal is just keep it simple. And, in day-to-day life, that's a challenge, especially with trying to manage, 1,000 orders a day or 50 orders a day. It really doesn't matter. It's just really kind of focusing on what do you do just to get those orders out and optimize your time. So starting out here, just looking at the interface, you have the basic navigation on the left-hand side. This works on mobile too, which is really kind of cool. You can actually go in and see your orders and see some information about it. We're working on, our goal is to have the shipping opportunities provided on mobile too. But, on a day-to-day basis, we kind of start out our day here, and we'll circle back around to this a couple different times with our mobile dashboard. Pause itself. There we go. So our dashboard is a great opportunity for us, and we'll come back to this, but it shows us what our pending orders for the day are. So, Andrea, I see you had a question here with the Shopify integration. We absolutely, we use Shopify throughout our warehouse, and that's our preferred. Amazon and Shopify are very well-known platforms, so absolutely. But looking at, some of this dashboard here, it's really kind of interesting because you come in on a daily basis and it's like, well, what do we need to do today? So this tells me that we have 35 pending orders. My warehouse team, in this case, hasn't shipped anything yet, which, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. We can't expect too much at that point. So everybody's still getting up and running. And you can see if we have any Amazon Prime orders or if there's anything that's going on in the warehouse, and we can kind of get a good idea where we need to start the day. What's really kind of cool is from there, we can actually go in and go to our orders and with the order summary page, it's really kind of interesting because this gives you a heads up of what you need to deal with that day. And this is a prime count and basically non-prime count of Amazon, Shopify. It's a mixture of kind of a little bit of everything that shows you, how many of those items we need to pull and whether or not they're prime items or whether or not, what the UPC and barcode is at that point too. And we can actually generate this and put it on a pick slip for you so you can walk around and grab all these items and bring them forward to start shipping. Now, if you don't need to actually go out and look through kind of an aggregate of all your orders, we have a few other options too, but
yeah, you can, it doesn't all have to be dog food and cat food. I know you're seeing a lot of that in the example. It really can be anything with a barcode. And if it's not a 30-pound bag and it's small, candy bars, right? If on a shelf as opposed to a 30,000 square foot warehouse, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it is you can see this location field all the way to the right. The location field is actually really helpful because, again, if you have a spot on a shelf that you like to have that product, you can actually specify that location in our product database. And whenever it prints this pick ticket, it'll actually print by location. So you know exactly where you need to go and grab those items off the shelves and be able at that point to, instead of running around the warehouse in different loops, you can kind of walk by each shelf and grab what you need for the day. And then let's go into a little bit here and just look at these orders, again, focusing on what information we really need to see on a daily basis. There's a couple different things here you can look at. Our pending order screen is really kind of neat because we're actually syncing with the marketplaces. So like if you have an Amazon order that gets canceled, Amazon likes to randomly cancel stuff all the time on us, and not tell us, but it'll update those from the marketplaces. Or if you change an address in Shopify, it'll actually pull. There's a lot of good information here, and this will show you just the different information that you need to do to basically fulfill these orders. This information that when it was ordered, shipped, what the product is, if there's multiple. There's even some capabilities here if you're shipping out of multiple locations to assign those orders to different warehouses, which is really kind of cool too.
And I know a lot of folks out there probably batch print, right? And maybe you just found out about batch printing and you're so excited about it. It's not always all it's cracked up to be. So the idea, that we're going to talk about here in a minute is that as you are bringing things forward, if something is canceled, as Austin was suggesting, when you get to that product that's been canceled, you're not going to box it up and ship it out and then find out 3 hours later, oh shoot, I shipped that, it was canceled.
How do I get it off the truck? Or how do I go find the
or how do I get it back from FedEx because I just dropped it off, right? So or if you're lucky enough to find it before you leave for FedEx to drop stuff off or have somebody pick it up, you still have boxed it, you still labeled it, you've still taped it up, you've still taken minutes of your day to do that when you didn't have to.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really simple, and this is where the software really excels. Is we'll go into the ship tab here, like Ryan was just saying. You know, on our daily basis, our team goes out and they'll go out and pull, you know, 1,000 different products out of the warehouse. And the fun part to that is you have a huge pallets that come forward at that point with just random bags of dog food, cat food, whatever else in the warehouse at that point in time that they need to ship out. So, you know, a lot of times, and a lot of folks will do this as a pick forward strategy. You know, you have all these products, or you know exactly what you need to ship for that day, or you just are staring at a shelf and you're like, well, do I have any orders for that product? And what you can do is, this is, you know, a standard barcode scanner, and just imagining the fact that you have these products, you know, you need to pick one up, scan it, and see if there's orders for it. The very second you scan that barcode, ShipSimply goes out, and the very first thing you see pop up here is actually our demo, and you'll see that ShipSimply immediately prints your pack slip. You know, this is what you'll throw in your customer's box. It can have your logo on it, it'll have your order number, it'll have your Amazon order ID or Shopify order ID, so there's a reference back to that. You can even put the return policy on there, so that way the customer has some information behind this. This prints again, you know, on a 4x6 label, and, you know, from that point, or a 4x8 label, depending on whatever you're using. And from that point, it actually goes out after it prints your pack slip here, and it goes through all the carriers after it finds that highest priority order, and it goes through all the carriers and finds out which one has the best shipping rate. So you can see in this case here, this went out to Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, and UPS ground returned that rate. Now, mind you, we just went through a lot there in that small amount of time. We scanned a product, and in about 3 seconds, the system found the highest priority order, did a full carrier rate shop based off of, you know, weight and dimensions that are in our product catalog, found the best carrier to print that label through, printed the label for it, and then uploaded all that tracking information to your e-commerce website and completed that order. And now your customer is notified that order has been shipped. You know, and that is the simplicity behind the system. So the next thing we get a lot of questions about is, well, that's great. You know, we love it, and we love it even in our warehouse whenever you have multiple items on an order.
Yeah.
You know, what do you do at that point? Because, I mean, how do you associate those items with the order? And the wonderful thing here is we'll scan actually one item here that, let's say it has 2 in the order that you need to pack. So you scan the barcode, and it's actually really kind of interesting because the system comes up and says, hey, you know, you've binned, in what we call our bin system here, one of these items. So we know for a fact that this item has been binned. You know, we have it at our pack station. It actually prints a label, so you can create a bin in essence for that item. And it allows you to go in and start basically putting this on a shelf so you can build out the rest of the order without having to dig through the whole entire pallet to find that. So then we know for a fact that our next barcode that we would need to scan is we would look for this ZWE peak. Well, we go through and, you know, we're packing and shipping, and then all of a sudden we come across our ZWE peak and we scan it. And the system pops up and says, okay, great, bin 0 is complete. You know, let's get all these items together for this order. This is a Shopify order. It's going to Pennsylvania. We have all that together here. You hit enter and say, great, we're ready to go. It automatically, again, goes out, does your full rate shop. And now we have those labels that are associated to send out that shipment. And here's a little bit of a preview here, you know, from all those steps. From that bin ticket that we saw briefly, saying, okay, you have 1 out of the 2 items that are needed, to the the pack slip that you would throw in your box for your customer, and then all the way down again to that shipping label. So some really cool stuff that the system's intelligently putting those orders together for you. So you're not doing all that digging and just having to match that together.
And that it works a lot. It works really well when you maybe you have something in stock already and you can push it onto a shelf, and then you've got another order in a few days coming in, and then when that order comes in, it's going to remind you that, you know, bin 14 is part of this order, don't forget. Right? It also is great when you have like 2 boxes of stuff or 2 pallets of stuff. One pallet is all one product, and you scan through 50 big bags of dog food, and 2 of them are bins. Well, then you go through another smaller pallet that's all small boxes with toys in it. So you get through all the toys, and then those 2 bins, you can put those toys with those shipments. It's exceptional, and it really reduces the amount of mispicks and misships. So it really helps you to slow down and realize that there's something going on.
Well, and you really don't have to slow down.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah,
your brain.
You're not thinking much about what you're doing, because as long as you're scanning that product, then, you know, you almost have 100% guarantee that the right thing is going out the door.
Right.
And obviously there's always something, if you're doing your own custom labeling or anything else down those lines, there's always that opportunity where you might have forgot to put the right barcode on the right product, you know, and those types of things. But, you know, for us, having that in a warehouse and just scanning barcodes all day long, you know, and this is a 2-piece order here. So you can see that we need 2 bags of this dog food.
Same thing, yeah.
Yep. And so you go grab the other bag of dog food because it's on the pallet together. You know, you scan it, and then it comes back, and here's your shipping label for that item. So there's a lot of logic that goes in behind the scenes as far as for these weights and dimensions. We have some really cool stuff too, like whenever you ship an item through post office, you know, we know post office based off of the fact that they have to know exactly how much it costs or how much it weighs and what the box dimensions are. We have a system that will actually come up and prompt you and say, hey, what is the weight and dimensions for this box? Well, the next time you scan that item again, it automatically pulls that data back in. So you're not constantly having to reweigh items. You're not constantly having to key in those values. And then, you know, it's super simple too. If you're going through and you just want to see orders and you want to see by day, you can go in here, sort it by date, look at details. Okay, well, we need to ship this order right now.
Right.
And
somebody's on the phone and somebody's like, please make sure this goes out today.
Yep.
Right. And you can do it personally. You can search for it up in the search bar, you know, whether it's their last name, the last 5 of the UPC, you know, 1 word in the description. It just doesn't matter.
Yep. It's super simple. The search is actually really cool because, you know, it really kind of helps you see as you type down the different products, or if you're, like Ryan said, searching for a UPC or anything else like that, you know, you can really key in a little bit of anything on the screen and have it pull in that data. So, and then you're like, oh yeah, Dawn here, you know, she called in and really need to get this bag of dog food out. So, you know, a lot of times, and I'll see my general manager doing this here, he'll go in and he'll click print. You know, the system will say, are you sure that you want to force print this order? Because we're, you know, not using really the scanning technology at that point. You click OK, and it goes through that exact same process. You'll get your pack slip. You'll get your shipping label.
It'll send the tracking number, which automatically triggers Shopify to send the note, the email that your shipment has been shipped. And while you're sitting on the phone still with the customer, that blows them away.
Yeah. And it's so cool because we have customers all the time too. We have the texting enabled on Shopify. Yeah. So the very second that ShipSimply sends it, they get a text notification saying, hey, Hardy Pet shipped this package, you know.
You can't make a customer happier.
Yep. And that's one of our big things is, you know, especially in today's world, you know, our goal is to get that package out the door as fast as possible and making sure that we're shipping that right order and with the right service level too. So, and a lot of that's all configured in the back end, you know, to make sure that it's following those rules, your business rules. But we also have those cases where somebody walks up from, you know, our warehouse team and they're like, I don't know what I did, but that whole label and pack slip got ate by the dog. I don't know what they do sometimes, you know, and the team before, whenever we were using different platforms like, you know, some of the competitors on the market, they would come up to our customer service team. We'd have to go in, we'd have to find the orders. It would be a real pain in the butt to figure out exactly where
cancel the shipment.
Yep. And go through the process of basically redoing that order.
Yeah. Reprint. Yeah. I mean, the steps were
laborious.
Great word.
It was just, it's so nice now because you have this catalog of all these shipped orders. You know, we have data behind when it was binned, you know, that product was, or that order was completed. And you click on the little actions screen here and we can go directly back into our finished processing and you can reprint all that information. You can reprint the pack slip, the shipping label, or just all these documents that are associated with it, just with the click of a button. You know, so at the end of the day, it's really focusing on getting those products out and as fast and efficiently as possible. And then
the thing is that this happens, right? Like, I mean, if you're using a roll, you know, you never know when it's going to happen, but it at least happens, depending on how often you're printing labels, it's going to at least happen a couple of times a week.
Yep.
Right? I mean, if you're only printing one thing, you know, a day, then it'll take a while. But if you're doing, you know, 50 things, gonna, if 100 roll 100, it's gonna happen every day.
Well, and the neat thing about that too is, you know, if you're doing 50 things and you've got multiple websites, you're also looking at different pack slips, you know, different verbiage on the pack slips, you know, and different information. And the system for each one of those channels, you can customize that information. So, you know, each one of your pack slips is unique. You know, maybe there's different return policies versus what you have on your Amazon store versus what's on your Shopify store. All that data is actually, you can customize that. And so that way it shows the right name and address, the right, you know, ship from, you know, and a lot of that information that's associated with that order too. So, and then what I love to do is at the end of the day is really kind of just take a look and see what's going on in the warehouse. You know, we're going back to this demo screen here, or the dashboard. And let me see if I can pull ours up here for a second. I always enjoy, it's fun to watch. It won't let me out. Yeah, it's fun to watch our warehouse team because, you know, obviously in our case here, our team has been packing and shipping for close to 3.5, well, no, I guess, no, close to 6 hours now. Our team, whenever you're actually watching the warehouse, you can see, there we go. You can see everybody that's shipping their packages that went out today. You know, granted, this is a lot of information and a lot of packages and a lot of shipments that are, you know, heading out our door. But it's just really kind of cool, the different carriers that are integrated, the amount of pending orders, how many Amazon we have today, and you know, it really gives us a lot of insight into what's going on in our warehouse. So just a lot of cool information. And, you know, the goal is just to help you streamline your business and become more efficient in that aspect too. So trying to think if there was anything else that was super exciting. Dan, is there anything else that you can think of? Dan's actually our lead developer and runs the dev team, and I was counting on him for some cool features that I might have missed, but
I think you guys covered the bases, really. I mean,
awesome. Can we open it up into any questions that you guys might have, or?
All right. I don't know if this got answered, but it looks like we have a question in the chat that says, does this work with Shopify?
Yep. So I did, I don't know if I posted back to that. So Shopify is actually the first one that, well, outside of Amazon that we integrated. So the first one. Yeah, out of everything that we are very confident with, Shopify is by far my favorite marketplace to work with. So absolutely.
Yep. And our Shopify, as Austin said earlier, just to reiterate it, when we print out a packing slip for hardypet.com via Shopify, it has a whole different set of data on it. It's our Hardy Pet logo, it's our Hardy Pet return policy, it's our Hardy Pet phone number for customer service. It's completely different than when it's an Amazon order. It gets a completely different pack slip.
Yeah.
So, and that's, even though we're running multiple sub businesses out of the one business, but it's easy for you to do. If you want to focus on different market segments or different groups, I mean, it's easy to throw up another website that is more appealing to your market
or direct to consumer or whatever else.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. And then there's no confusion either when you're looking at the pack slip.
Yep.
So your website or the app, how do you connect? Like if, like you guys said, you have Amazon and Shopify, so you do that through, like, when you set up your page, this account.
So basically, what you do is on Amazon and Shopify, we basically add ShipSimply as a authorized developer on your account. So we can't change any, of your site look and feel and things like that. We just have access to your orders and your tracking information, and that data gets sent to ShipSimply. And once that order is shipped, then we post that tracking information back. So it's a very straightforward process that just allows us to basically communicate back and forth with it. So,
and that isn't through the apps that's on Shopify. That's through like a different way, right?
Exactly. Yep. And we're in the process. Our goal is, since this app is relatively new within the past couple months, our goal is to get us on the Shopify App Store. You just have to prove yourself, at that point. And we're definitely on the way. I think our last package count that we've shipped through ShipSimply was
2005.
Yeah.
205,000
packages so far, and
on this
version, and then almost about 1.2 million in its entirety. So
yeah, we've been using an alpha version and a beta version of this software for 4 years, and we've been more than 4 years.
Yeah,
and the few issues that we've had, we've pushed right out, and then now this final version is some of the best work, especially with the interface and the ease of use of it.
Yeah, and that was the main goal, is just to make sure. And a lot of these folks, as you gain respect from your carriers and your e-com providers and things like that, that's where they start to kind of recognize the software, which is, we're getting to that point finally. So,
and I just wanted to make sure, because I know you said you connected, so you could connect multiple Shopify stores to this.
100%. Yeah, we've got four Shopify stores now.
4 Shopify.
We have WooCommerce,
A couple WooCommerce,
Amazon,
a few Amazons.
Yeah.
What about Etsy?
Etsy is, so that's one of the cool things that we're looking at is, and I think this is what's exciting, with your guys' group, with the Made in Baltimore group, is we'd love to know what other marketplaces that you guys use, because our integrations are very straightforward now, and Etsy is definitely on our list.
Yeah, so we didn't have Squarespace.
Squarespace.
We didn't have Squarespace last version. We do have Squarespace this version.
And it was about 2 weeks to get it online.
Yeah, so 2 weeks, let's call it 4, just in case. But and if Etsy's complicated or not, or it could be more or less. So, but the more votes, the more we know people need it, the easier it is for us. It's a no-brainer then, right? Just get it done.
Well, and we have friends now they're tattoo artists that are selling unique puzzles and things like through it's a company website called Big Cartel, which is apparently another.
Yeah, you're familiar. Yeah, so that may be one of the next ones as well. And yeah, we're excited to be able to customize the software to link up to these pieces.
Well, and help everybody.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I actually started on Big Cartel, and then I moved to Shopify, and I had Etsy before Big Cartel, and I still have an Etsy. It's nothing on it though, because I don't want to sell anything on there, and then I don't know it's you know what I mean? So it's just like it's too much to do right now, but I just have it there. But I do. That's why I asked, because it's like if I could have it all funneled into one space, then I wouldn't have that kind of like apprehension.
Yeah, right. And that's one of the focuses that we have to have, and it's something that we use in our warehouse too. Because if we had to manage 8 different web stores and have orders from each one of those web stores in a different location, it would drive our team nuts downstairs. Yeah. Whereas,
and you've got people that you want to, you started on Etsy, and you got your people that, you love Etsy and you want to keep doing Etsy, but your brain can't handle it. It's just too much to do unless you scan the barcode and it just works, right? And then you've got, you can end up getting your 2,200, whatever it is, people back that you'd already built that relationship with.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I mean, it's really kind of cool. And obviously too, as you guys grow, it's a huge help for us because it gives us the capability to work to improve that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And if I seem overly excited, I apologize. I mean, I was the one doing it, right? I was the one, and we all did, but in the very beginning, printing out pieces of paper and matching it to the dog food and then touching it again to get it to the person who's packing it, and they touch it again to put it into a box, then you touch it again to put it onto a pallet to get it's absurd. And ShipSimply just takes these 7 touches and makes it 2.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a lot of fun.
I mean, that's what I'm doing now, but I don't have, so my sales kind of go like, so I have times where it's like a lot of sales, and then that's like, you don't want to get confused. And the thing I like too is that you can see when an order was, because then it's like you can see immediately what's the priority. And that's like what I don't really have right now with how Shopify is set up. I mean, I can like go in and click on my shipping labels and things like that, but this is like way more convenient, even if I do have to do a little bit more as far as like barcodes and things like that. But if it saves time overall, I think it'd be worth that trade-off.
Well, and that's it, Shopify, and you've been there, I go into my orders in Shopify and you pull them up and you sort them by date and you click it. You're like, oh, no, that's not the item. Let me click to the next one and then click to the next one.
Right.
Yeah. How do you do that efficiently? And that's,
once all your stuff is barcoded, I mean, yes, you can go in and look, because you might want to print out a slip. You don't have to go in and look anymore. Yeah. You can say, print me out a pack slip, and it'll tell you what you need to pull that's on your order.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you literally, if you've only got 5 things, you can just go over and scan the barcode, and if a label prints out, you got something to ship.
Or in that case, I just pulled up our pending orders here screen. You just sort it by date and type in approximately what you're trying to ship, and there's your priorities for that moment. With the date and the timestamps on it. So, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah. If you know that one thing, you're like, oh, geez, do I need to get that one thing out today? You can easily pop that up.
Or what I do is I sort by the oldest date, and we'll go in there and look at something that's 15 days out. And I'm like, oh my, hopefully we contacted the customer and why hasn't this shipped yet? So
it still happens no matter your size.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm happy to, and again, we're here. So, we've been in there, especially in the growing stages with a little bit of everything here. And, and would happy to show you kind of the capabilities here too, depending on, what you're doing on the Shopify side. We'd happy to set you up an account. So.
And what are your rates for having an account?
So what I want to do is I want to actually look through, we're very much so in the beta phase right now. And usually our platform is a little bit higher cost. And when I say that, it's about $249 a month for under 500 packages. Now, what I want to do is, I want to work with and see what we can work with maybe Brian too, and have that discussion to see if we can offer something with the Made in Baltimore group, some opportunity to really kind of get up and going on the platform too.
Yeah, and at a minimum discounted, if not, for a period of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to gauge everybody's interest to see if there was some opportunity, with the group, and, definitely see, especially since, again, we're in Maryland, I'd love to help encourage that business, through the States. So
it's fun to be able to say, I ship out of Maryland with using a Maryland shipping software, it's fun.
Yeah. And knowing that those resources are here. So.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So about how many shipments do you have a day, a week, a month?
I guess it varies from like 40 orders to 90 orders per month.
Okay.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's always fun, especially whenever you get a huge spike. Yeah.
Well, and do you think if you got back on Etsy, if you got back on Big Cartel. I mean, I feel like it would give you more access to folks.
Yeah, I definitely think Etsy would. Big Cartel. I mean, that's why I moved, just because it wasn't what I needed for the time. So Shopify has been good for that. But I think Etsy's platform would be good to get back on.
Okay.
And sorry, I just got distracted. It's this squirrel on my porch, and it's like sitting on my but yeah, so Etsy is another opportunity. But I think streamlining, I think I want to improve my processing time. So I think that will make a difference as well.
And we're happy with that, and we can definitely, Brian, I would assume, are you sharing my contact information with everybody?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to, definitely help you out, and in any way we can. So I think there's some opportunity there too. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is exciting. Again, we're here. It was a pleasure having you guys on today. And if there's anything else we can do, feel free to reach out. Brian has my email address. It's austin@shipsimply.com. And there's also chat on our website. And I'm happy to provide, our phone number on our website routes directly to my phone and my cell phone. So feel free to give me a shout. We'd love to connect. So please feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Oh yeah, you bet, Brian. Thank you for the opportunity.
It's crazy because every time one of these workshops happens, I'm always blown away at how much I'm able to learn in such a short time. And I hope that everyone who is viewing this is able to feel the exact same way. I am so thankful for you, Austin. I'm so thankful for the team. I'm so thankful for Ryan, Brian, and everyone else that's been a part of this amazing production of this workshop. And again, to everyone who is watching or who's here, this workshop will be available on our website in the coming weeks. And you can head over to madeinbaltimore.org to check out some of our previous workshops. Again, thank you to our parent agency, Baltimore Development Corporation. Thank you to the ShipSimply team. Please pay attention to your emails. I will be sending out follow-up information regarding ShipSimply and how you can incorporate this amazing resource into your own business. And